Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Simon Hadler, and I'll introduce you the phenomenology of challenging psychedelic experience. First, we will start with history. The indigenous people in Mesoamerica are the first known source that were using psychedelics. They were using them for religious rituals, shamanic practices, and healing ceremonies. LSD, psilocybin, peyote, and ayahuasca are the classic psychedelics. First, LSD. It was invented a couple days ago on 16th of November, but different year, 1938, by Albert Hofmann and his famous bike ride. Psilocybin, which is the psychoactive compound of magic mushrooms. Peyote, which is a cactus that includes mescaline. It can also be found in Mexico and other South American states. And finally, ayahuasca. It is a medicinal beverage used by Shipibo, Ashaninka, and other indigenous tribes in the Amazon forest. And this beverage compounds two flowers. First is chacruna, that has the DMT, which is the psychoactive compound, and ayahuasca, the wine of death. And it's very trendy at the moment to try and experience those medicinal beverage in Peru, for example. The second class of psychedelics is dissociative psychedelics, such as ketamine and PCP. They are called dissociative because they can provide you with out-of-body experience. Well, they can be very eye-opening, but also harmful. They can serve as a catalyst for personal growth and give you a different perspective on your life's trauma. However, we need to be very careful because they can trigger certain mental health conditions. And this is the definition of challenging psychedelic experience, which is characterized by fear of death, ego dissolution, or overwhelming emotional states. Well, for further understanding of challenging psychedelic experience, we need to distinguish between the challenging psychedelic experience and bad trip. So, challenging psychedelic experience refers to a difficult, unsettling, or distressing encounter during a psychedelic trip that can include feelings of fear, anxiety, confusion, and loss of control. You might even feel that you are losing your own mind. This experience do not necessarily result in lasting negative effects. It can be transformative. Again, as I said, it can provide you with a different perspective for your hard life moments. But further work is needed. You need to reflect on this experience. What did the trip show to me? Why I was in this situation again? And further work with sitter or therapist will help you to really embody those higher messages and experiences into your life. Whereas bad trip is something negative, is something you don't want, and it's better to be avoided. It's challenging, frightening, or overwhelming experience that can lead to confusion, panic, or long-lasting psychological problems. Well, if you are unprepared or in an uncontrolled setting, it's a higher chance that you might be having a bad trip. You should be very careful because it can trigger psychosis, paranoia, and feelings of losing sanity or other mental health conditions. Psychosis and paranoia are dangerous. It's important to introduce these two factors: set and setting. Set refers to anything that's going on in your mind. Am I happy? Am I sad? Am I depressed? How am I feeling right now? With a positive mindset, it is more likely to report beneficial effects and fewer negative reactions. Whereas negative psychological states can lead to challenging experiences, such as anxiety, confusion, and fear. Setting refers to anything external. Am I trusting the curandero, the therapist, the ayahuasquero? How am I feeling in this group setting? Do I like the people in my ceremony? Are they my friends? Are they my enemies? Consider those factors, they are important. Supportive group settings often report more profound and meaningful experiences compared to those in solitary or chaotic environment. Therefore, a safe, comfortable, and relaxed environment is really important. However, if you are in unsafe and stressful environment, what are other factors that can lead to challenging psychedelic experience? First, taking psychedelics when you are troubled about something. Generally speaking, your mental health is not good. But, well, a bit more complicated. You can be taking SSRIs, for example, bupropion, which is dopaminogenic SSRI, and with that you can take psilocybin, because psilocybin works on serotogenic pathway. So these two don't interfere and it should be okay. Well, if you take them in an environment with people you don't trust, or if you take them in overstimulating environment, such as nightclub, public place. Simply, if you take too much. I read about a participant who took 3.6 grams of psilocybin and he had challenging psychedelic experience. And lastly, large outdoor spaces and user inexperience. I found this particular study that was describing that the ayahuasqueros, curanderos, they usually protect the space where is the ceremony taking place, which is Maloka, DP, it's inside. And they usually warn participants that they won't be able to help them once they go outside, because there are bad spirits and they will attack them and make them feel horrible. How can once you have challenging psychedelic experience, how can we measure it? First, the challenging experience questionnaire can be used, CEQ, that is measuring the negative emotional and cognitive responses that can arise during psychedelic trip. Secondly, the dread of ego dissolution, DED, that focuses on cognitive impairment, loss of self-control, feelings of disintegration or separation from oneself and the world. Usually speaking, we can say that high scores on the DED the higher the indication of unpleasant psychedelic experience. However, Barrett et al. 2016 found this scale imperfect, and he suggests more accurate questionnaire based on his scientific experience with psilocybin that includes those 7 categories that you can see on the screen: grief, fear, death, insanity, isolation, physical distress, and paranoia. Those 7 categories are negative. You might be asking, what are other negative experiences that can arise during challenging psychedelic experience? Well, unfortunately, difficult psychedelic experience might involve psychotic reactions that are anti-therapeutical. They don't have good consequences. In this particular study by SSA, they found that anxiety, paranoia, or depression can last a week or longer after your psychedelic session. And thus Santos et al. Made a review of case reports describing psychotic episodes associated with ayahuasca and DMT ingestion. They found 5 case-based reports describing psychotic episodes. However, most of the participants, but not all, had a personal or family history with psychosis and or mania. Psychosis and mania are very serious and negative. On the other hand, what are the benefits? Carbonara et al. Found that most of the participants, actually 78% of participants, benefited from the challenging experience. However, most of them said it was one of the most difficult experience of their life. Magic et al. Suggests that the benefits of adverse psychedelic experience have therapeutic effects. Lucas, 2005, underlined the importance that the user has to be willing and able to integrate their hard lessons on the psychedelic experience into their life, which might require the presence of wise and trusted curandero, ayahuasquero, therapist to really work with them and make most of this trip. Otherwise, it's just a trip and it's meaningless. So, in order to make sense, further work on to embody this experience into your life. Those are serious conditions. When the user integrates the challenging psychedelic experience, it has the potential to treat depression, PTSD, anxiety, addiction, and OCD. Those are serious conditions. What are the red flags, meaning predators of the experience? Young age or psychotic history is a big red flag. Your mental state. Are you rested? Are you depressed? Is it better to take psychedelics next time when I feel more calm? Interestingly, if you are female, unmarried, or having pre-existed anxiety condition, you might be suffering or having adverse mental health outcomes after ayahuasca ceremony. Lastly, having no knowledge of the dose, being in eye-guided settings and having diagnosis of prior mental health is big red flag. What other parameters of challenging psychedelic experience do we know about? That's why we need to focus on future research. First, identifying predictive factors for challenging experience. Second, the transformative potential of challenging experiences. Third, mechanism of psychological distress during challenging experiences. Lastly, the role of therapeutic support during challenging psychedelic experience. Thank you for your attention.